I have a deeper longing these days for Jesus, for relationship, for time with him, for his nearness.
Tony, welcome to Focus on the Family. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me today.
One of the things, I think marital breakdown occurs mostly at Christmas time. Did you get the list? Did you buy everything I need bought?
Well, and we have 4 daughters, and for a number of years I was on church staff, and so that comes with its own agenda of a checklist of you got to do this some December night, some December. There's a list of all the things we've always done, and we've been thinking, this family did this. Maybe we want to add that in. Where are we going to put that in the night in December?
On the more serious side, I think levels of depression for people are at their highest at Christmas time. It could be loneliness, separation from family. Maybe a family member has passed away, and Christmas is this time to be together, to feel joy, and yet there's sorrow that can come with it.
Well, I think the season is an intensifier because for the people that are, if you're falling in love in a new relationship, wow, what a backdrop for that. If you're a family that's just loving being together, what a great time with so much fun along the way. But if you're going through a season of grief or missing someone, or relationships are tense, family dynamics, and you look around and everybody's having a wonderful time and you're not, then the tapes and the voices start saying, okay, something's wrong with you. And the highs are just a little bit higher and the lows are a little bit lower.
When you look at music, I was never really a music guy in high school. I didn't buy the albums or the cassettes. CDs may not have been around at that moment.
Probably not. Yeah.
But, I just didn't connect. But later now, after college and career and meeting Gene, and Gene's more into music, but it does move the soul. There's nothing that moves the soul like music. What drew you to becoming a composer, a writer?
I think it started at about 15.
That's amazing.
Well, I started writing my first songs then. I grew up in a small little farming town in Virginia. Church was kind of the center of life for everything. Church music, choir music, and kind of what was on pop radio at that point were the two influences. I decided to sit down. If any time a guy sits down to write his first song, it's going to be this bad love song. It just is. And I wrote 4 or 5 really bad love songs. The first one, though, I did play for the girl who played piano for the youth choir, who I kind of had a crush on, and she liked it enough. We started dating for a while. So suddenly the music nerd,
your scheme worked.
The music nerd had a tool in the toolbox.
Right.
And I kept writing. After about 5 or 6 songs, I just started writing about what I was learning in youth group at that point, the things of faith, what I was reading in the Bible.
Why do you think it moves the soul the way it does? How did God, create us to respond to music like that? You can cry over song, you can laugh over something. It is the epicenter of emotions.
It seems to bypass some filters or some walls that we've built. And it just comes around from the backside and sneaks up on. You see some of the hardest, toughest guys will hear an old country song or something like that, and man, and they stop pretending that they're not moved.
Yeah, dog, a pickup, a broken relationship, right? That's country music.
Grandma.
You connect the stress that Joseph and Mary were experiencing during the first nativity to a significant move you made to Nashville decades ago. I'm not sure how to make that comparison, but tell me about it.
Well, I think we all have our Bible heroes that we look at. And for some reason, Joseph has always been this guy that I have just seen a connection to. I think Joseph was a good guy, trying to be about the right stuff, getting the jobs going, a relationship with Mary, going about things the right way. And suddenly, his life just got crazy. He is suspect sinner number 1 in the town when the pregnant fiance shows up.
Right.
This crazy trip to do a census to feed the ego of this king. The panic of, if this is going to go well, he's got to take care of it. Just the pressure, the tension of that. I think the piece I respect that deeply in him. I think I felt some of that as a guy thinking, okay, God, if you're really leading me into this songwriting thing, and we had to move 10 hours away from my home, from my wife's home to Nashville, where we knew nobody. And I didn't really even know a professional songwriter once we got there. Our moving van drives away. And there is nobody to call up and say, hey, you want to grab a cup of coffee? So it's starting as ground zero as you can get. And so I think looking at Joseph just in the pressure of it all, and yet in the midst of that total chaos, God is working perfectly his steps. He is leading Joseph. I mean, you think they're leaving Bethlehem to go to Egypt. Here's an international flight story. Again, like that feels like a movie scene to me. The pressure inside a guy trying to take care of his family. And yet this is the way that God's leading.
It's really interesting because there's not a lot written or talked about the emotions of Joseph with Mary, his betrothed, pregnant
Well, she kind of got the big song.
I mean, it had to be really scandalous to some. I mean, can you imagine the village talking about what's going on there? Now they got to get married. She's pregnant. I mean, you've got to assume that was going on.
Yeah.
And I've never thought that deeply about it because we kind of moved to the great story of the Lord being born, but Joseph carrying the burden of that to do the honorable thing.
And the slow unfolding of the whole story. Where, no, he's going to bed tonight sweating this thing.
Yeah. It helps when an angel visits you and say, hey, don't be worried, you know. That's always nice.
Does it really at first?
I think that could be a little more crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair comment there. Tony, there was a time when upbeat Christmas carols were really your thing, and you loved the spirit of that, as we all do. It kind of lifts your spirits, and maybe jingle bells or whatever it might be.
All the happy ones.
Yeah, all the happy ones. But over time, you've kind of reflected on that and gravitated more toward the contemplative songs. Describe that and why that's more meaningful for you.
Yeah, there are a couple of carols that as a kid, and even as a young man, there's like, okay, that's coming up. Skip, move on. Let's get back to Joy to the World, and oh, come let us adore him. And even some of the ballads like Silent Night and everything, I mean, they just tug at the heartstrings. But it was, oh, come Emmanuel, and come thou long expected Jesus, were always the ones that like, oh, just didn't feel it. And I think it's part of just growing. And I don't think you understand longing as much.
Yeah.
Now, everybody that was always around the dinner table when I was a kid, when I was a young man, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And there's just there's still a whole lot of joy to Christmas for me.
Yeah.
But there are moments where you feel that little twinge and longing, and even more at the heart of the season. I have a deeper longing these days for Jesus, for relationship, for time with him, for his nearness. I'm going to enjoy the stuff of the season, but I'm going to make sure personally that I keep him at the center of it. Wait, this is what it's about. I want to intentionally spend time with him alone.
Yeah.
So I get the longing of those songs a lot more.
I have a good friend, Randy. I won't give his last name, but I know you're there, Randy. And he differentiates corporate music from non-corporate music. Like bands, sometimes they're shaped into generating revenue because that's the business model. So you end up with lyrics and songs that kind of appeal to a broad mass. He always says, yeah, I love the corporate stuff, the stuff that really moves my soul. Yeah. Have you seen that with writing Christian music? Like there are the catchy beats and they go big and they're number one. You've had 30 number one songs. That right there is amazing. But do you feel that those 30, for example, that hit number one, are they all your favorites? Or can you feel that difference between writing a corporate song that generates clicks or revenue versus a heartfelt song that I don't really care if it does anything. It means a lot to me.
Well, I think there's a struggle. I've heard a number of songwriters put it this way, that you make peace at some point that if you were writing 100, 150 songs or more a year, for some guys, you have to make peace with "You're Going to Die" with some of your favorite songs never heard by anyone but your wife and your publisher. And some people don't want the heavy songs. There really are some people that want to get in the car at the end of the day. Something feels good and makes them feel positive, and a little reminder that, that's right, God's in the picture with me.
And that's okay. I'm just saying there is a difference for the artist.
There is. And I love that under the Christian music umbrella of songs, there are all styles. Every style that's in the world musically is represented, for the most part, in the Christian world. And people can find what. There's nobody who goes, I love it all, but you find what really connects and what tells your story.
Family relationships, like we talked about lightly, can get really strained. I mean, I'll just say in-laws. And everybody goes, yep, that's our story. But Christmas is the feast, and people come over often, and you're spending time together. How do you make sure that you can navigate those family settings well?
I think the best thing I ever heard was, like, if your family is fractured and not talking to one another, you just write a really nice Christmas card to everybody, include a family photo with one extra child you've borrowed that they know nothing about. Then suddenly they're all talking to one another.
There you go. You get the theme. At least you're on theme.
But every family has their own mess, their own dynamics, their own history. And every glorious picture we see of Christmas is the family coming through the door, all the hugs, the kisses, the presents, the time around the table. We're holding hands, praying. And, sometimes in those families, people just can barely stand to be in the room with one another.
So this is a good one. So you're in Target doing your Christmas shopping. Hey, you're the one that wrote about this.
I did.
But all of us can relate. You started to get frustrated, and the Lord said something to you. What did he reveal to you at Target?
Well, it was it was one of those trips where I was going to get a gift for somebody. I kind of extended my side. It was kind of my duty. One of those. I realized I'm going to get a token. And I am walking down the aisle of Target, sports stuff ahead, kids to department to the right, toys over here. And as I turn the corner in the back aisle, there are like 40 other people. It's a beehive just moving. And I start looking at their carts, and I thought, are they getting tokens too? I mean, and then the verse, God loves a cheerful giver, just kind of, pierces in the back of my head to just dump a little bit of guilt on me. It's like, I know. And I thought, so many times we're getting tokens. Who wants a token? Nobody wants to give a token. Nobody wants to receive a token. And it just made me think about the gifts that we give. I mean, why not give what somebody really needs? For some people, and I think I wrote, suppose that lady over there put back those gloves for her sister and instead just wrote a card and say, here's what you really mean to me.
Oh, that's great.
What if the guy getting the TV in the cart realized your wife really does not want pricey electronics this year. She just wants you to be more present with her. What if that guy in the muddy work boots put back that piece of fishing gear that he was getting and just told his dad, I forgive you. What if that was the gift, the real gift that people gave some years?
You wrote this book, Manger Throne. It is the dichotomy. It's an oxymoronic statement, right?
It is.
Manger is nothing. In fact, when you go to Israel, it's more like a cliff ledge that has a little depth to it. That would be the manger, where you have a little protection, but pretty much wide open. Ray Vanderlaan, who did that, The World May Know, with us, explains that if you ever travel, or you'll see it in that series. I mean, it's not like a deep cave or something like that. It's just enough for shelter. And you think about that, and that was what the Lord chose to be born in.
The whole tension of the high king of heaven set foot upon planet Earth in such a place as that. You think of how he should have come versus how he did come, indeed. The meekness, the lowliness of all of that.
You talk about Freeze the Frame, a song you wrote. What were you getting at? A relationship to the manger, to freeze the frame?
Freeze the Frame is really more about the family component of everybody being together. I mean, it's just such a great part of the season. I've got 4 daughters that I love dearly, 3 sons-in-law that I love so much. A few years back at Christmas time, one of my daughters was pregnant with my first grandson. So it was a little bit of excitement going.
Just a little.
Oh, a little bit. And so we're pulling up to the table to sit down. And I think next year at Christmas time, we're going to have a baby here at the table. And I'm so excited about that. And as we kind of took one of his hands to say the blessing, my daughter was sitting just to my left. And I kind of look and see her belly there at the table. And I'm like, that boy is here tonight. Wait a minute.
Already here.
He is already here. And Jim, it just washed over me. I'm an easy cry, no shock to my kids when that happens. So I just made a blubbering mess of the blessing that night. And they just laugh at me, and we go on with life. That's life around our table. There's a quote that says, be aware of the things that bring you to tears or bring a lump to your throat. For sometimes it means the holy is drawing near. And I know that in those moments of life, okay, I'm going to be sitting up tonight, scratching down on a legal pad, processing this, trying to make it rhyme, because I'm not a journaler or anything. I just put it down on paper, try to make it rhyme, and make a song out of it if I can. So I did that sitting up, got verse, chorus, second verse, kind of, I mean, it's deeply personal to me. Hope somebody else likes it, but that's the life of any writer right there. You never know. A couple months later, I took it to my publishers in the office and said, hey, I like this one a little bit more than maybe some other songs that I've written. Let's be mindful in the coming months if somebody's going to be doing a Christmas record, if this is something we could get to them. So middle of summer, I'm in a writing session, just like a normal Thursday morning in my life, small, little cramped room somewhere in Nashville on Music Row. A couple other people. We're writing a song. A text pops up on my phone, a local number that I don't know, and so I tap and stop and look up, and it says, "Hey Tony, Michael W. Smith here. Thanks for trusting me with your lyric. Hope you like this melody for it." And I just kind of stopped. I was like, "Hey guys, got to take a bathroom break here in a minute."
I'm having that's a moment like awesome.
Here. Oh gosh, and talk about an artist that I have just such a respect for a long, faithful career, a long obedience in one direction.
And great music.
He has done it so well, and he loves Christmas. So this song made it on his 5th Christmas record. so he loves Christmas.
Oh, that's sweet.
So an artist that I love, kind of memorializing a really special family time of mine.
It's good. Yeah, you mentioned cars, and in the book you talk about Christmas trips, the vacation. But yours are like 20-hour car trips.
Yeah.
I mean, were you insane?
Well, that was just what it meant, because we had the kids and we moved away. Like I said, all of our family was back in Virginia, so we had to make that 10-hour trip one way, 10-hour trip back.
Oh man,
for 20
That's
plus
commitment.
Christmases.
And so, how did those things go? Did you enjoy the car trips, or were they monotonous?
Or both.
All of the above. I'll tell you a thing that I'm not totally proud of that came out of that. My wife and I invented the Christmas song game, where before the trip we would take out 10 envelopes and put $1 in some, $2, $3, maybe a $10 bill in one of them, and I would number them 1 through 10, shuffle them, put them on above the visor in the car.
I like this.
Hey, so we're just going to listen to Christmas music for a while. I mean, 4 daughters in the back, it was chaos. But at some point, a couple hours in, we're just going to listen. Everybody pick a song, and if it comes on the radio, you get to pick an envelope. And we did that for a number of Christmases.
There's a cheaper way to go. Adventures in Odyssey can do that for you. But that's great. I mean, what an entertaining way. Are your girls interested in music? Did any of them?
My girls are all very creative. My wife is very creative. So they grew up in a house that valued that. None of us are very good at math or balancing checkbooks and things like that. But everybody has their creative outlet.
Yeah, and are any of them musicians?
I have a daughter that writes. I have a daughter that had a book that was published and is beginning to write songs. And I had one daughter that she was in high school, and she had an idea for a song, and we wrote it and got it recorded, and she got a little bit of money for that and was like, no, okay, moving along to the next thing, to the next area of interest.
Tony, right here at the end, I want to close with the concept you share about having a barn night. One, I love doing these kind of things when my boys were younger, sleep out under the stars, come up with some reason to do it. But the barn night concept, tell me what it was and how you did it.
Started that when I was a student pastor and looking for something at Christmas. I wanted to give them a sensory experience of what Christmas was like. And talk about somebody whose lives are just busy, noisy, frantic, going all the time. So I would find somebody in the area who had a working barn. Messier the better. We'd load up the church bus some night late in December, take 30, 40 kids out to this barn. So always cold, sometimes rainy, muddy, always nasty. Better years are when there were a couple of animals present just to make people nervous and edgy. And, a year where like a cow is leaning over, kids are sitting on hay bales all around, complaining because they've just ruined their nice shoes and it just stinks. And we would sit in the darkness, a couple of the candles or flashlights, and I would read the story from Luke 2.
Wow.
And a cappella or maybe one guitar, very simply sing a couple of Christmas carols and talk about this is the world into which he came. This is the darkness. This is the foulness of the world we had created through our rebellion to him. And yet that is where his love toward us, that is how much he was willing to humble himself. And,
wow.
And I thought if the way I'm going to judge whether Barn Night is successful is if I can create 3 minutes of silence at the end. The first minute is they're all nervous and twitching a little bit, but minute 2 it settles, and in minute 3 I trust God. Okay, in this whole month of December, maybe you're meeting them just right there and there.
Yeah, what a great reminder, Tony. And it's just that pause to say, in the busyness of Christmas, which it's going to be, can we create a little space to really think deeply about what the Lord has done and what Mary and Joseph went through? And I think it's a beautiful way to capture the moment in a little different way, and to think about the Lord in perhaps a unique and different way. God gave us an amazing gift, the birth of his Son, Jesus Christ, who came to teach us about truth and love, and the world so desperately needs that right now.
And to help you kind of slow down and observe the season, we would certainly commend Tony's book to you. It's called Manger Throne. It's a great devotional. It'll walk you through this season, give you some great insights. Get a copy of it from us here when you make a donation of any amount. You can contribute to the work of Focus on the Family as we share the gospel, as we equip the saints and help parents and kids thrive in the family. Donate today and we'll send the book to you. The link is in the description below.
Tony, again, thank you so much for being with us. It was really a pleasure to get to know you.
Thank you all for having me.
And thank you for watching Focus on the Family with Jim Daly. I'm John Fuller, inviting you back as we once again help you and your family thrive in Christ.